Last week, Arike Ogunbowale won her second All-Star Game MVP, scoring 34 points in the second half to defeat the US select team that will be competing in this year's Olympics. This is the second time Arike has won All-Star MVP, and coincidentally, or maybe not, her last MVP honor came against the US select team back in 2021, which has led many to question why she wasn't selected to the Olympic team this time around. She withdrew her name from consideration long beforehand, but to understand why she may not have been selected and whether those reasons make sense, we first need to break down her game. In many ways, what you saw from her in the All-Star game is exactly who she is. Step back jumpers, hezzy pull-ups, and off-balance jumpers are all part of her arsenal. Arike doesn't need a lot of space to get her shot off, especially against taller defenders. And one thing you'll notice when watching her is that her shot profile is all over the place. She loves this fadeaway jumper going right, and this type of shot making has made her the most diverse scorer in the league. Take a look at the shot profiles of some of the leading scorers in the WNBA. The larger the hexagons means the more shot attempts from that area, and the more red the shapes are, the better the shooting percentage. So as you can see, someone like Asia is very rim dominant, while someone like Sabrina Ionescu is mostly behind the arc. Now here's Arike. You can see from her shot map that she shoots from any and everywhere. Arike has mentioned how she idolized Kobe Bryant growing up, and much like Kobe, it seems like at times Arike has never seen a bad shot before. One shot I'd say she's really mastered is the one-legged step back. Because she's only 5'8", she isn't able to charge herself to the rim or generate easy looks like some of the league's best. So she relies on her tough shot making and her ability to create even the tiniest bit of space to punish defenses. On this play, she catches the ball in the post, and all she needs is one dribble and a step back to get this shot off in the face of Zia Cook. And if this isn't the most Mamba-esque shot ever, then I don't know what is. She shoots this one over the contest of two defenders off of one leg. A lot of these shots are out of necessity. Dallas needs her scoring to even stay afloat offensively, and on this play, a one-legged runner from 16 feet is just what the doctor ordered. Footwork and balance is another key component of Arike's game that really stands out to me. Pump faking defenders into oblivion while keeping her pivot foot down and turning her body 180 to kiss this shot off the glass. Because she attempts a lot of shots fading away, Arike's balance and coordination to not only create space but maintain concentration on these shots is truly remarkable. And I think this play might actually be the most Kobe-esque shot I've ever seen, because much like the Mamba, Arike actually shoots this shot with her legs crossed, which is eerily similar to the Kobe crisscross fadeaway from the 06 playoffs against Phoenix. We all remember Kobe's remarkable scoring season that year, not only because he averaged 35 points, but also because of how relatively inept his supporting cast was. More on this in a moment. Kobe ran a lot of isolation for the Lakers offense that year, which is very similar to the playstyle of Arike's. According to Synergy, her 2.6 isolation attempts per game is by far the most of any player in the league. And so because of this, I would argue Arike has the most freedom of any player in the W. This is why I've been so impressed with what Arike has been able to do for the Wings this season. Despite her diminutive size, she creates just enough space to shoot from anywhere. Now, Arike doesn't need a lot of space to get this off, but she also doesn't create space as often as you think. To make life easier for her, the Wings will have her play off the ball at times, where her change of direction is more effective. Even if it's just to flow into an on-ball action, like we see here with the Chicago set, notice her off-ball movement forces the defender to turn her hips, which means it's step-back time and she drains an and 1-3. She's very fast, so using her momentum against the defender is another way she collapses defenses. Watch how this wicked back cut is all she needs to get free from Kai Copper, collapse the defense, and find an open shooter. Her playmaking has also been pretty solid. She ranks 6th in the league in shots created per 100 possessions with just under 7, and it's her threat to score from anywhere that demands so much attention from defenses to where her teammates can benefit. Here's a little more of that off-ball movement we were talking about, and notice how the hanging jump pass is enough to collapse the defense. I think some of the nicest passes she's made are in transition, where there are fewer eyes on her and she can pick defenses apart with quick, simple decisions. Anytime Arike can get a paint touch, she likes to look for the laydown pass to Teaira McCowan, who is one of the tallest players in the league and has a pretty wide catch radius as well. This wide catch radius allows for Arike to take bolder risks with entry passes, throwing this one from half court just over the outstretched arm of A'ja Wilson and right into McCowan for 2. Or take this find, where she lobs this one over the top to TM in traffic to where only she can get it. Among players historically with a heavy offensive load for their team, only some of the league's greatest have contributed more shots for teammates historically than Arike, with those names consisting of ladies like Diana Taurasi, Cynthia Cooper, Maya Moore, Cappie Pondexter, Sabrina Ionescu, Skylar Diggins-Smith, and Caitlin Clark. This is insanely valuable for Dallas's offense, yet this brings up another difficult question. If she's created so much offense, why have the Wings struggled so much offensively as a team?
And what if I need a different kind of plan?
State Farm can help you find the right coverage.
What if I was a different kind of baller?
It's called Mark's Cubans. Cuban sandwiches by Mark Cuban. You'd have a majority stake. This is proprietary toasting technology.
It's a pass.
Okay, hear me out. Mark Tubans. Tube socks by yours truly.
Nope.
During a regular season game back in June, the Connecticut Sun put together the most effective defensive scheme I've seen on Arike all season, holding her to 11 points on 2 of 15 shooting. The Sun did this by clogging her driving lanes and inviting her and her teammates to take jumpers. Connecticut overloaded her side when she had the ball, and their entire approach was to overhelp on dribble penetration, forcing her to either take long jumpers or give the ball up to her poor shooting teammates. The Sun could overload on her driving gaps because 1, they were banking on her shooting rather than passing in these spots, but also because Dallas lacks the outside shooting to take advantage of Arike's creation. Take a play like this one, where Natasha Cloud completely ignores her woman to help defend Arike's drive, and because AO can't get to her spot, she's forced to take this shot while hanging at a backwards angle, and it still goes in. The Phoenix Mercury also applied the exact same defensive approach when defending Ogunbowale that Connecticut did. Watch how when Arike comes off a pick and roll headed to her left, that Shook Sutton completely ignores Sevgi Uzun in the corner because she's a 25% shooter from downtown. You can see that again on this play, where Ty Harris is literally just standing at the nail, clogging Arike's driving lane, while Uzun stands idle at the opposite wing as a complete non-factor. And this approach to defending Arike has been used by almost every team this season. Without someone like Satu Sabali to provide spacing and scoring, Arike is forced to deal with schemes that almost any player would struggle with given the circumstances. This is Minnesota helping off Dallas's statistically best three-point shooter in JC Sheldon to blitz Arike because she doesn't shoot enough threes to actually be respected from there. The same goes for someone like Maddie Siegrist, who, despite being in contention for most improved, is still a dreadful three-point shooter. Not all of Dallas's spacing issues come from a lack of three-point shooting. Some of it is floor balancing. Uzun needs to space to the corner here to at least open up the floor to give Arike a lane to penetrate. The same goes for JC Sheldon on this play. You can't even see her on the screen here, and neither do the Sparks on the scouting report because she's not a serious threat from there, so she needs to clear to the opposite corner so Ari McDonald isn't standing in Arike's driving lane. Some of this is on coaching, but also Stephanie Suarez should know by the way teams are guarding her and Arike that she needs to clear out and make herself available somewhere she's actually a threat to score. What you'll notice about a lot of these clips, especially on these side pick and rolls, is that defenses are forcing her middle and right into the help defense, daring Arike to pass it to a weaker defender to beat them instead. I think this is part of the reason why Arike's shot profile is so perimeter oriented, because even though she can break down her initial defender at a respectable rate, she's always seeing another help defender in her driving gap. This does mean that Arike does create a ton of shots for teammates, but these don't always turn into easy points for her team's offense. Arike comes off this Iverson cut and is immediately forced baseline where not one, not two, but three Sparks players are waiting to help out on her drive, and with no teammates as threats or making themselves available to the ball, she ends up taking a step back three. And in a way, I actually think Arike's playstyle and situation actually best resembles what Iverson went through during his 76ers years. Teams constantly overloaded on his side and ignored his teammates because they weren't threats to score or create either. Only the Dallas Wings haven't surrounded Arike with a strong defensive unit like the Sixers at least did with AI during his finals run. By my evaluation, Arike is easily in the most disadvantaged situation for any lead option in the WNBA, which brings up another important question. How much should we value scoring efficiency when evaluating number one options on terrible rosters?
The first thoughts that go through your mind?
Well, the thing is, I pretty much had an idea that I wouldn't be on it. So there's trials and stuff that go on throughout the years and previous, and you do it and you see the vibes. And I mean, me being me, I just felt the vibes. Like, honestly, when it comes to that stuff, it really doesn't have much to do with your game. It's really about who they feel like fits with the team, which,
okay,
I mean, that's on the men's side too. You know, you could have said Kyrie could have made it and stuff like that. Like, the committee say they look for people who, you know, I don't know, honestly, but I could already tell, like, that wasn't the type of vibe they were going. So I actually took my name out the pool, like, months ago, so.
Since 2020, only one player has scored more points than Arike Ogunbowale. Yet, in the same breath, nobody has taken more shots either. Take this game against the Los Angeles Sparks earlier this month, where Arike was aggressive as always, getting to her spots and rising up over the defense without hesitation. Only, these shots kept missing, and even though bad shooting nights are normal for volume scorers, Arike is in a tier of her own in this category. Among all the volume scorers in the league, Arike and Jewel Lloyd are the only players averaging at least 20 points on below league average efficiency. Both are hovering around -4, which isn't a great number for number one options, even on struggling teams. We've talked about how Arike can be very trigger happy, but some of the efficiency issues are due to ill-advised shots. She takes this fadeaway contested jumper with 8 seconds left and with the shot clock turned off. And this type of reckless shot selection oftentimes comes at the expense of better looks for her teammates. Monique Billings has clear inside position on Asia Wilson in the post, but instead Arike fires this shot with 19 seconds on the shot clock without looking for something better. Here's another play where Tierra McCowan has the post sealed off, but Arike passes her up and fortunately is still able to draw a foul. Even simple pocket passes to the short roller have been fairly inconsistent from her this year, leading to a shot clock violation on this play, and hey, there's Jimmy. These missed pocket passes are why I don't think she can be a lead guard on a serious contender. She is certainly skilled enough to make mid-range pull-ups, but why is this the end result of a possession where Natasha Howard is rolling unimpeded to the basket? These type of decisions are typically excused by players on bad rosters, but rarely do guards that have scoring blindness like this ever develop into portable players on more talented units. And while I think Arike is a great passer by sheer volume of shots created, I wouldn't consider her a great passer. We've seen Caitlin Clark and Chelsea Gray make this aggressive outlet pass all the time. Yet, Arike doesn't see it and opts for a low percentage look early in the shot clock. We've talked about how the Wings lack shooters, but this doesn't always mean that Arike's difficult jumpers are the best available look. So, When it comes to the conversation of where she fits with Team USA, it's important to understand why someone's role and fit matters. Arike's skill set and playstyle fits best when lifting offensively challenged rosters, but not necessarily on better teams, specifically with teammates that provide better on-ball value than her and are more efficient and wiser scorers off the ball. Historically, inefficient scorers that are also average passers don't typically feature on select teams nor scale up on more talented units, because these teams will typically stress finding better shots for teammates rather than early shot clock jumpers. And if you're wondering, her shot diet and scoring blindness isn't just due to her current circumstance. Despite her talent, AO has been below league average efficiency every year since 2019, often because of her reckless shot selection, ignoring even good three-point shooters for contested mid-rangers in a playoff game. I think a lot of this is because she's not a great driver. She's only 5'8", which is small for a guard, especially a lead guard. So even though she has the step on Lexi Brown here, she doesn't think she'll have a great angle at the rim, so she pulls back for a tough jumper. And even after relocating to get the ball in space, she opts for the one-legged floater here instead of attacking the open space for either a layup or a paint touch. I've inserted quite a few clips of missed reads in transition, and this to me is probably the most concerning aspect of her game, because despite the struggles Dallas has had in the half court, these type of looks should be automatic without dealing with a set defense. As for defense, I think on good teams, Arike has shown to be a very good on-ball defender with great instincts away from the ball. This season, her off-ball defense has been very impressive to me. Her rotation from the opposite corner here probably saves this possession from ending in a layup. And putting her in the corner where she can observe action in front of her and make decisions has also worked out very well for Dallas. Notice how she sprints over to blow up this entry pass to Nelson Adota. Or when it comes to kickout passes, she has cat-like instincts to pounce on this corner pass to grab a steal. Some of her best rotations have been in help and recover situations. Watch how she slides baseline here to force a jump ball on De'Erica Hamby. But in Arike's case, like everything in this video, there are some weaknesses. Her screen navigation has been downright horrendous this season, struggling to stay attached to guards both on and off the ball. She occasionally has lulls in her defensive awareness, which leads to a lot of situations where guards get free from her. And one thing you'll notice a lot from watching on film is how often she puts her hand up to acknowledge her defensive mistakes. After losing Lexi Brown again on this screen, she lags switching onto the taller Cam Brink, giving her a clear path for a layup, and the hand goes up here. And low effort moments like jogging back in transition certainly aren't plays you want to appear on a low light tape either. So the main takeaway from Arike's game in my opinion is that she's an extremely talented player, doing the best floor raising job any player could possibly do in her situation. She's a very talented player with tremendous value on and off the ball, but that is why the idea of scaling curves is so important. She does have some weaknesses that on certain teams might actually limit or cap them from achieving elite offensive status. One of those teams possibly being Team USA. And so, while I don't think she fits on Team USA because of her playstyle, as we've seen, there's so much more to her impact than shooting percentages, which in my opinion, still makes her one of the better players in the league today, and such a thrill to watch every single night. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you've made it to the end, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and turn on post notifications so you never miss a video. Also, make sure you follow me on Twitter, where you'll be able to find articles that I post and be able to interact with me about the game more directly. In the comments, let me know where you would rank Arike in the league right now, and if you think she would have made a great fit on this Team USA roster. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.